This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1128. Personal Finance is Personal, Why We Shouldn't Judge Others. Part 1 by Nick True of mappedoutmoney.com. And I am Dan, I'm your host, and this is where I read to you from some of the very best blogs on personal finance. And I do that every single day, including weekends and holidays. And it's not just this show where you can get great blog content narrated to you for free. We actually have 5 shows covering all different topics. And you can search for Optimal Living Daily wherever you're hearing this to find all 5 of our podcasts. But for now, let's get right to it as we continue optimizing your life. Personal Finance is Personal, Why We Shouldn't Judge Others, Part 1 by Nick True of mappedoutmoney.com. When people find out I run a personal finance blog, they immediately assume that I'm super frugal and don't ever spend money. In other words, they immediately start to judge me. And to a certain extent, it is true that I'm frugal. But remember, you can be frugal about all of the garbage that doesn't matter and still spend money. I do this so that I can spend extravagantly on the things that do matter. And for me, that looks entirely different than for someone else. But I've found that as I've started writing about personal finance, more and more people have started making comments about my spending habits. Sometimes they don't think I spend enough. Sometimes they're surprised that I've spent so much, which is kind of crazy. I mean, they don't know how much I make or where most of my money goes, yet they immediately make judgments when I buy or don't buy something. This used to really bother me, but I've finally gotten to where I just let it roll off my back. But while I've started to learn not to let it get to me, the more I think about it, I do think this is a real problem that needs to be addressed. And it's not just their problem. I find myself making judgments about others too. It's natural and easy, but it's harmful for us and for others. It isn't just a problem for the people feeling judged. It's a problem for everyone. You hate it when others judge you. When someone judges you about something you've bought, most of the time it just doesn't make sense. Now, to be clear, I'm not talking about your parents or your close friends being concerned about your well-being. They likely know more about you and more about the context of the entire situation. Maybe they're concerned that you aren't saving enough money and are simply trying to help. But most of the time, that isn't the situation. Typically, some of the people who judge you the most are your coworkers, mediocre friends, and extended family members. And it sucks. I can't tell you how often I hear, "You need to loosen up more." Or the opposite, "I can't believe you bought one of those." I get it all the time. My new favorite is after I've bought something or gone on a trip, I get, "I'm really proud of you for doing that." In essence, they're proud of me for spending money and not being cheap. Isn't this crazy? I mean, most of these people don't know anything about my financial situation. They also don't know anything about mine and Hannah's long-term goals. How in the world can they possibly know what is or isn't a good decision? Take Mr. Money Mustache, for example. This guy and his wife worked for 10 years and saved over 70% of their income to invest for retirement. They lived extremely frugally and cut in every possible area. They were able to save a massive amount of money in a short time and then retired at the age of 31. Now they have the next 50 to 60 years of their lives to do whatever they want. Sure, it's great now, but can you imagine the type of judgment they got during those 10 years? I can't begin to imagine how many people told them they were depriving themselves and living a miserable life. Yet these same people likely can't stand their jobs, yet will be working them until well into their 60s. It's the same in your life too. Your friends, coworkers, and family members may not know what your long-term plans are. They may not know that you want to move in a year, or that you want to go back to school, or that you plan to retire early. They may not know that you are planning to sell your house, buy some land, and build a tiny house on it. Yet they still judge freely and openly. Just ask any pregnant woman about judging. She'll tell you about how people come out of the woodwork to give parenting or pregnancy advice. It's crazy. I'm talking random people in Walmart coming up to you to give their best advice ever. What makes them think they understand your situation enough to give advice? Yet it doesn't stop them. And it's the exact same way with money. People feel the need to make judgments about you because of what you do or don't buy, which is weird because we know that people have different needs, different wants, and different long-term goals, which means the way we spend money is naturally going to be different. But that doesn't answer the question of why people judge. If people are different, and we know this, you would think that judging wouldn't be such a problem. But it's deeper than that. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled, Personal Finance is Personal, Why We Shouldn't Judge Others by Nick True of mappedoutmoney.com. and I will finish the rest of this post for you tomorrow. But that's it for today. Hope you have a happy rest of your day and a great weekend, and I'll see you back here for the Sunday show tomorrow. That's where we're going to finish up this post and where your optimal life awaits.